Hi guys, how you guys doing? It's bed rant time. I'm going to talk about a subject I've ducked and dodged a lot, which is physics, quantum mechanics, and relativity. I don't, I wasn't a physics major at Harvard College, so I don't claim to be Joe Physics dude, and I didn't want to do a video about it until I thought I was ready to. I don't want to do. I try not to be a hack, just like, oh, well, here's this, here's this. I wait till I think I'm ready to talk about something before I do, and I think I'm ready to talk about quantum mechanics and relativity. So ready? Here goes. Physics by Jimmie Rex Wiseman Jr. First of all, quantum mechanics deals with very small things like atoms, subatomic particles, which is protons, neutrons, and electrons, and sometimes those particles, even more smaller particles than those, like quarks. And I don't know. I don't know everything about it, but there's very small things is what quantum mechanics deals with, and the very big things like the universe and stars and all that, planets. That's dealt with by relativity, special relativity, and general relativity, the two types. To my credit, I only took special relativity because I wasn't a physics major, but to my credit, I got the highest score in the class in that. It was just a small class, 1 unit or 2 out of 4 in physics. It was a special little subclass. I got the highest score. I got 92 on the exam in special relativity at Harvard College. Quantum means quantity means a level, and in quantum mechanics, little particles like subatomic particles, electrons, protons, neutrons, they don't travel through space like we think continuously. They just jump from here to here, and it takes no time for them to get from here to here, which is against our intuitions as people, I think. And hence quantum. A particle can only be at this level or that level or that level. It can't be in between. It does not take any time to travel in between. It just goes from here to here to here in zero time. And it's like weird things happen in this world. In the world of quantum mechanics. And relativity for big things has its mysteries too. For instance, Einstein's theory of relativity proved there's two sets of two things that are each relative. First of all, time and space are relative. That's one reason it's called relativity. And matter and energy are relative. So matter, energy, space, and time, MEST. That's what L. Ron Hubbard called it. Matter, energy, space, and time. Matter and energy are interchangeable and therefore relative, and space and time are interchangeable, therefore relative. Special relativity deals with, if I can remember this even, special relativity deals with, I forget, it's a subset, it's a special case of general relativity and simpler. Special relativity is simpler than general relativity. I think special relativity deals with constant things that I really don't remember, but I only took special relativity and did general relativity. In relativity, space and time are relative. So that means that if I travel through space, I'm traveling through time as well. And the rate of one affects the rate of the other. So if I'm going really fast all the time and moving, like I've been walking 40 years, I've been walking since the late 80s, close to 40 years. I've been walking through space, so I've been moving through time at a different rate than if I were sitting still, believe it or not. That's one reason I've aged well, I think, because I've been moving most of my life, walking. Yeah, walking isn't moving that fast, but if you move consistently, not just take a jet plane to New York and then you're done, but moving through time over time consistently, you age slower. Like a thought experiment makes you get, no one's really done it, but you can think of it, and it would be true if it did happen. Two brothers, let's say twins, born on a certain planet, and one of them takes a space ride for 15 years. He's always moving and moving and moving, and comes back and visits his brother who has been sitting at the same planet the whole time. The one brother's going to have hardly aged, and the other one will have aged 15 years. When you move through space, you move through time slower. And there's some paradoxes with relativity too. Did you know that according to theory, relativity, if you travel at the speed of light, you won't age at all. Light particles don't age. If you can travel the speed of light, you will achieve immortality. You will just never age if you, as long as. But here's the trick. According to relativity, if you're not going the speed of light, you never will be. In other words, the only way to be going the speed of light is to already be going the speed of light. And then the other side of that paradox is once you're going the speed of light, you can't not go speed of light. In other words, you can't slow down from going the speed of light if you're going the speed of light. And if you're not going the speed of light, you can't speed up to going the speed of light. You're either there or you're not. And once you're there, you're there. And you can't go back and you can't go up. Light travels at the speed of light, but it can't slow down or speed up because it's in Einstein's theory, nothing can go faster than the speed of light. Theoretically, then, if you could go faster than the speed of light, you'd actually go backward in time, hence time travel. So all these movies where people go warp speed and they go faster than the speed of light, what they're forgetting in some of those shows is that you'd actually be going back in time as well. And they don't account for that in like Star Trek. He goes at impulse power 5. That means like 5 times the speed of light. But if that were happening, he would actually be going back in time, which they don't account for in the show. Gene Roddenberry didn't include that. I don't know if because he didn't know it or didn't want to, just didn't want to deal with it. Like if I could go warp speed 5, if I go 5 times the speed of light, I'd come back and it would be like the year 1800 or something. You know, and time would go backward. And then again, the problem with that is if I'm not already going the speed of light, I cannot speed up to the speed of light. It's a constant. It's called C, and mc squared, E equals mc squared, energy equals matter times speed of light squared. Because nothing can achieve the speed of light that isn't already achieving the speed of light, and nothing can slow down slower than the speed of light. Once it's going the speed of light, and theoretically nothing can go faster than the speed of light. I don't know how modern physics deals with some of those things. That's when I studied physics. We didn't have M theory yet, membrane theory or string theory that came later. But the thing about Stephen Hawking, who had the same disease as my dad, by the way, and they both lived a long time with it, which is Lou Gehrig's disease. Stephen Hawking, there's a paradox within the whole thing, though. It's, for some reason, if quantum mechanics is true, relativity is not true. And if relativity is true, quantum mechanics is not true. So the two theories are mutually exclusive, meaning one can't be true if the other one is. And yet they both explain what we think about the small versus the large. They're both our main theories about the universe, but they both can't be true at the same time. So hence the need for or seek the drive to think of a theory of everything, TOE, or unified field theory, UFT. You know, one theory that will either explain one as true or the other, but then explain the other also, or a theory that would combine the two into one unified theory that would explain everything. You know, and as far as I know, no one's thought of that. I don't keep up on. I don't read about this stuff. I just know about it from studying at Harvey Mudd College. But I don't know if how close they are to it, if they'll never find it, or if they've already found it. I don't really keep up on Stephen Wolfram and Pam Dirac. PAM is an acronym. I don't know. It goes way beyond my pay grade once you get into what they're doing now. Particle accelerators and going back in time and just kind of anything's possible in the world of science if you really know your science. And I don't really dig into it too much. I watch YouTube videos on it sometimes, but I tend to go down rabbit holes when I do that. And then next thing you know, that's all I'll be thinking about, because I have a mind that likes fascinating things. But I also have some Asperger's syndrome, which means I'm not able to tell if someone's yanking my chain very well. So that's one reason I don't watch the videos, because I'm not sure when someone's yanking my chain versus it's really a valid video. I understand the math and science like nobody's business, but I don't understand human interaction. Like if someone's trying to yank my chain, I'm just oblivious to it. But yet if they try to argue math with me, I'll tear them apart. That's just part of my nature. But so because of that, I don't really know what to trust when I watch a video on this kind of stuff. I don't know if they're yanking my chain or if they're the next really good new thing. So I kind of stay away from that. I'd have to, it's almost like I'd have to ask the moderator, is this video right? Okay, thanks, moderator. I'll take this one into consider. I don't know when someone's taking my chain, and all of it might be just chain yanking at some points. So anyway, that was just general, but I want to go into more specific than that. That was just an overview of it. I'd like to talk a little bit even more about this if it comes to me. If it doesn't, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me think. Like matter and energy being interchangeable, M equals mc squared. You know, that was really that technology of the science behind that is actually what made the atomic bomb possible. Because if you can make reactions happen, don't say I'm an expert at this, but you have big particles like plutonium and stuff. If you have reactions that break them up and change the mass of the actual particles that have been broken up or squished together, I don't know which. Fission is taken apart, fusion is pushing together, and you change the mass of these particles, energy comes off because energy and mass are interchangeable. If I reduce the mass in a reaction, I get energy out of it. And I think that's how nuclear reactors work that make the atomic bombs possible. You make atoms collide and change their mass into a lower level than they started with, and then great energy comes out of it. Because mc squared, you realize it, mass is the m, c squared is the speed of light squared. The speed of light is 186,000 miles a second, approximately. That's a big number. The speed of light squared is a big number, and just a little bit of mass with a big number like that gives you a lot of energy. And that's how atomic bombs are made and designed, and you just have reactions. It's not that hard, I don't think. I don't think it'd be that hard theoretically, but you have to make the products that work and make the bombs work. And, you know, it's like probably a mechanical, more of a mechanical problem than a theoretical one, because the theory is not that hard. You just take M2 or plutonium-238 or whatever, super big atoms, and if you collide them or break them apart, I don't know which, but maybe it's both, I don't know, make the mass go down, and you get tremendous energy out of that, and that's how nuclear bombs were made, or are made, whatever you want to say. And then what about quantum mechanics that I haven't mentioned? Let me just go a little bit further on that area. I don't know what I want to say there. Some people think, you know, like there's a link between the way we think and quantum mechanics, I think, because sometimes when we get an idea, it's like quantum. We didn't have it, but now we do. And we didn't grow to have it. We didn't have it over time. We just got it, and then we didn't have it, then we had it. It's very quantum. Our brains think in quantum ways a lot. And not only that, in quantum mechanics, you have the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Heisenberg, like Werner Heisenberg, that's where Walter White in Breaking Bad got his name. Say my name, Heisenberg. You can't know everything about a particle. You can know where it is, but not where it's going or how fast. And you can know where it's going or how fast, but not where it is. You can't know both. You can't know where a particle is and also where it's going and how fast at the same time. And our thoughts are like that. I can know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of an apple, but I don't know what I'm going to think of next. Or I can think, I'm thinking of electronics, but I don't know, I'm going to think of an atom now. You can know where you're going with your thoughts, but not what your thought is. Or you can know what your thought is, but not where you're going with your thoughts. You just can't. You can't know everything about your thinking. You can't know what you're thinking of and where you're going with it. You can only know one or the other. Same with momentum and position in physics. You can't know both. You just can't. It just doesn't work that way. And what was I going to say about that? It's kind of, let me think here. Let me think. I just got fascinated by my own talk and lost my train of thought because I was just thinking, well, I wonder about this. And next thing you know, I didn't know what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. That relates to engineering as well. See, I almost lost this thought because my mind moves so fast that sometimes thoughts I've had 5 minutes ago feel like I've had them several hours ago to most people probably. And it feels like an old thought by the time I get around to saying it. In engineering, you have in systems engineering, which I studied, which I really did study. I was really good at it. You have time domain and frequency domain for functions, periodic, complex functions. And complex means both real and imaginary parts, not hard. You can, if there's time domain, which is the actual time expression of the function, or the system or the signal, and then you have the frequency domain, the frequencies that make it up. And for some reasons you have to think about it hard, but for some reasons the time domain corresponds to position of the function or the signal or whatever, and frequency domain represents the momentum. You can just realize that if you study it hard enough. It just works out that way. But if to know a function completely, you have to have it contained in a certain, from here to here. If a function goes on infinitely in both directions or even in one direction, you can't really know it because you can't know infinity. So what happens is if the time domain expression of a function or signal is set in contained, not infinite in either direction, then the frequency domain expression of that will be uncontained. It will be infinite in both directions or one, usually both, or maybe always both. I don't remember, and therefore not knowable. So if you know the time, if the time domain, which corresponds to position, is finite and knowable in system engineering, then the frequency domain will be infinite and unknowable, and that represents momentum. But the reverse is also true. If the momentum, i.e. the frequency domain of a function or signal, is limited and therefore knowable, the time domain function will be infinite and therefore not knowable. So you can't know all about a function or systems, a function or signals, time domain expression and its frequency domain expression at the same time. You can't know both. You can only know one or the other. And I know that's not physics per se, but neither is my thinking analogy, and yet that seems to apply. These principles of quantum physics often apply to things that we would think, or we would hope maybe are just for small things, but actually a lot of big things operate that way too. And you would hope maybe that relativity wouldn't affect us, but yet I've been walking 40 years and I probably haven't aged as fast as someone that just sat for 40 years as opposed to me who walked for 40 years. I'm just saying, I don't know. What do I know? That's the theory says that. The theory says that it's actually calculable. If I had the right source and the right help, I could probably figure out how fast. How fast I may have aged slower because of my 40 years of walking. I could probably figure that out if I really wanted to. I have to get the right professor to tutor me or to supervise me or whatever, and then I could figure out. Oh, maybe I've only. But I don't care. What do I care? Who wants to know that? And who cares? Anyway, that might be all I want to say about this subject. I actually did a lot of the math of this. This isn't just talk. Professors don't just go into if you go to take physics, they don't just do what I'm doing right now. I'm giving you kudos. I'm giving you pearls. I'm just talking about it, but not making you think of the math. But actually the way to get to this kind of thinking that I have is not by just sitting here and talking about it. You do the math first. I've done the math, and then I just explain the math in layman's terms, such as A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. I'm not Stephen Hawking. Please don't say I'm saying that. But his Brief History of Time is readable to the average listener or reader, layman they call it. But yet he didn't get that by just sitting around thinking about what to write. He did the math first. The math leads to the thinking, not just the thinking from nowhere. or it's not philosophy. It is philosophical, but it's not philosophy. It's not, well, what do you think, mister? I don't know. What about, you do the math, and the math that shows you what is true, and then you say that truth in layman's terms. So I guess he's looking off me.